Manamayam Sukha Sangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Chanaga. Translation. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. Text 7. Rajo Rajatmakam Vidhi Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam Tanna Badnati Kaunteya Karma Sangena Dehinam. Translation. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this one is bound to material fruitive activities. Text number 8. Tamastvagyanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nirjabis tannibadnati bharata. Translation. O son of Bharat, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Text number 9. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati rajakarmani bharata jnanamavritya tama pramade sanjayatyuta. Translation. The mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to the fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. Text number 10. Rajas tamascha bhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajas sattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Translation. Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Text 11. Sarvadrareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate Jnanam yada tata vidyad vivridham sattvam ityuta. Translation. The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Text 12. Lobha pravrittir arambha karmanam ashamaspriha rajasitani jayante vivridhe bharatarshava. Translation. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Text 13. Aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivride kurunandana. Translation. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. Last text, 14. Yada sattve pravavrite tu pralayam yati deha brit tadottama vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate. Translation. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets. Back to text number 4. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. Purport. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality, Godhead Krishna, is the original Father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but in every planet, even in the highest, where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, there are living entities, even within water and within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed-giving process. The purport is that the living entities being impregnated in the material world come out and form at the time of creation according to their past deeds. Next text. Material nature consists of the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Purport. The living entity, because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with this material nature. Still, because he has become conditioned by the material world, he is acting under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because living entities have different kinds of bodies, in terms of the different aspects of nature, they are induced to act according to that nature. This is the cause of the varieties of happiness and distress. Text 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. Purport. The living entities conditioned by material nature are of various types. One is happy, another is very active, and another is helpless. All these types of psychological manifestations are causes of the entity's conditioned status and nature. How they are differently conditioned is explained in this section of Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is first considered. The effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. A man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. The representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. This sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reactions. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and a greater sense of happiness. The difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in the mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and is better than others. In this way, he becomes conditioned. The best examples are the scientist and philosopher. Each is very proud of his knowledge, and because they generally improve their living conditions, they feel a sort of material happiness. This sense of advanced happiness in conditioned life makes them bound by the mode of goodness of material nature. As such, they are attracted toward working in the mode of goodness, and as long as they have an attraction for working in that way, they have to take some type of body in the modes of nature. Thus, there is no likelihood of liberation or of being transferred to the spiritual world. Repeatedly, one may become a philosopher, a scientist, or a poet, and repeatedly become entangled in the same disadvantages of birth and death. But due to the illusion of the material energy, one thinks that that sort of life is pleasant. Text 7. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desire and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activities. Purport. The mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. Woman has attraction for man, and man has attraction for woman. This is called the mode of passion. And when the mode of passion is increased, one develops the hankering for material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy sense gratification. For sense gratification, a man in the mode of passion wants some honor in society or in the nation, and he wants to have a happy family with nice children, wife, and house. These are the products of the mode of passion. As long as one is hankering after these things, he has to work very hard. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that he becomes associated with the fruits of his activities and thus becomes bound by such activities. In order to please his wife, children, and society, and to keep up his prestige, one has to work. Therefore, the whole material world is more or less in the mode of passion. Modern civilization is considered to be advanced in the standards of the mode of passion. Formerly, the advanced condition was considered to be in the mode of goodness. If there is no liberation for those in the mode of goodness, what of those who are entangled in the mode of passion? Text 8. O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Purport. In this verse, the specific application of the word "to" is very significant. This means that the mode of ignorance is a very peculiar qualification of the embodied soul. This mode of ignorance is just the opposite of the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, by development of knowledge, one can understand what is what, but the mode of ignorance is just the opposite. Everyone under the spell of the mode of ignorance becomes mad, and a madman cannot understand what is what. Instead of making advancement, one becomes degraded. The definition of the mode of ignorance is stated in the Vedic literature. Under the spell of ignorance, one cannot understand the thing as it is. For example, everyone can see that his grandfather has died, and therefore he will also die. Man is mortal. The children that he conceives will also die, so death is sure. Still, people are madly accumulating money and working very hard all day and night, not caring for the eternal spirit. This is madness. In their madness, they are very reluctant to make advancement in spiritual understanding. Such people are very lazy. When they are invited to associate for spiritual understanding, they are not much interested. They are not even active like the man who is controlled by the mode of passion. Thus, another symptom of one embedded in the mode of ignorance is that he sleeps more than he is required. 6 hours of sleep is sufficient, but a man in the mode of ignorance sleeps at least 10 or 12 hours a day. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. These are the symptoms of a person conditioned by the mode of ignorance.
Are there other questions?
Yes, Mogadori? Krishna, Krishna.
I was just hoping maybe you could explain what it appears always dejected means.
Appears always dejected. Let's look up the definition. Sad and depressed, dispirited. Looks always sad and depressed. Morose, as it was. Where's said morose also. Yeah, just not enthusiastic, not seeing the bright side, just seeing the negatives, depression, And in that state, it's difficult to do anything. That's why ignorance is so powerful, because you just become inert. Even though you know there's a problem, you should somehow or other get out of that state of depression or dejection. Still, you can't. You're inert. You're influenced by ignorance. So then you just try to find some happiness within that depression or whatever. Because they're not like the mode of passion person where they're very active. Yes, Bhakta Gio.
It's said in the purport that a person in goodness can see things as they are. So in regards to getting instruction, whether that be, whether that be a little forceful or whether it be gentler, does a person in goodness see that a person who is instructing them, does he see that, this is for my own good, therefore I should listen to this advice, whether it seems harsh or not? Is that what a person in the mode of goodness thinks or operates?
Possibly. I mean, the characteristic of one in the mode of passion and one in the mode of ignorance is that they see untruth as truth. So you might see this or have experience when you say something to somebody. If they're in the mode of ignorance, then they may assume you said something else or you mean something else, or they already make some sort of, false conclusion about what you're saying. It's like when you preach to a Christian or somebody like that, or some like these kind of New Agers who are all drugged out, and you may be preaching about something about Krishna, personal form, and all that, but they can't hear. And then if it gets a little heated, the argument, then they'll, sometimes I've witnessed it that these kind of people they say, oh, well, you said this earlier, you said like that, but then like you didn't actually say that, or you didn't actually mean that. So they're deluded, they're in a state of delusion. So even if they hear Krishna's God is a person, you're a soul, if they're in ignorance, then they can't actually see it. They can't understand that. They can't go beyond the bodily conception of life. So this is a state of ignition. So yeah, you could say, okay, in one sense, one is more reflective in the mode of goodness, and they can more objectively experience reality, whereas one is in ignorance, they're in a deluded state, they're in more illusion. So they may hear something and then make a conclusion off of it that you didn't actually mean or say, like that. So if somebody's instructing you, like giving you some instruction, you might, in the mode of ignorance, you might make an assumption that, oh, they're just trying to exploit me, or they're just trying to, he's just mad because of this or because of that, So some of these thoughts might come up. Of course, because of conditioning, that may be a reasonable response to have, because in the material world, everybody's exploiting each other. But if it's coming from a devotee who we know generally has our welfare in mind and is a well-wisher, still we may even have those thoughts when we're trying to be corrected, or when we're getting corrected on something or instructed to do something. Those lower modes may affect our vision. Well, did I answer your question? Okay. So the goal is not just to be in the mode of goodness, but to be in pure goodness, but we have to go to goodness. We have to live a life in sattva gun, or try to, more so, and then rise to, it's easier to rise to Shuddha sattva or pure goodness. So, yes, Materna? The Vasudeva state. Well, it's pure goodness. So, those lenses are talked about, how mode of goodness is like seen through a yellow lens, and then the Vasudeva state is like seen through clear lens, or there is no lens. So it's a transcendental state. So you're absorbed in Brahman. So in pure goodness, then you can actually perform pure devotional service, not mixed devotional service like the conditioned souls are doing. So when you're situated in Brahman, Krishna says that this is the constitution of ultimate happiness. So that's where this blissful spiritual life is in this Vasudeva state.
So this morning, Rochan Dev emphatically declared that if we want to get fixed up, all the devotees all over the world will tell you just follow the program.
Well, what?
Rochan Dev was declaring that all the devotees on the whole planet, they'll tell you if you want to get fixed up, just follow the program. So when should we consider if we're fit for such a program?
What program?
Like Prabhupada's program, 4 a.m., this and that, Mangalarti, rounds, Hare Krishna, Gita. If we are feeling, while we're trying to do that program, we see in ourselves that we always appear sad and depressed, does that mean we're hopeless? Or what?
No, it doesn't mean we're hopeless. It means, the program is the program of purification. So that we're going to get no matter what, even if we're in devotional service or outside devotional service. The material world is a place of purification. Either you get it by getting kicked by Maya and suffering from your endeavor for sense gratification, or by devotional service, then you purify yourself, you cleanse your heart, and you rise to the mode of goodness, pure goodness. So, for yourself from anarthas. So, this program is more or less following the chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regular principles. That's the basis of foundation of the program. And that's where the purity comes from. It's the orders of the spiritual master. So if one does that, then they're probably guaranteed they'll go back to Godhead. So if one is always feeling morose and doing that, if you can do it, then if you can do it once and do it twice, 3 times, then you have to just push through. But if you're always like up and down when you do it, or sometimes people who live, in the temple, it's easier to chant at 16 rounds and follow regular principles because all the time is set aside for it. So when one's living in the temple, then that time is very valuable that they can develop that practice, that regular practice and habit. But then when one lives outside, there's many difficulties that can, and distraction and unfavorable association that can be there, which can hinder one from following that program. So one always has to be in the association of devotees, then they can have that good influence of following the program. But even if one can't follow the program fully, do what you can do comfortably, and then always try to improve. And it might take years to get to following the program. And some people have taken years to follow the program, but then once they are able to get there, then they're like, there's examples of devotees just, doing it the rest of their life. But it took some time to incubate themselves, and then they are ready to hatch and have a wonderful Krishna conscious, pure life. So the principle is to continue and try your best. And one part of your life may be having a better period of sadhana, another part may not. But if you just go on trying to serve Krishna and the devotees and try your best, then purification is being made. Progress is being made. But if you just give up and think, well, this is too hard, so I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to enjoy, that's mode of ignorance. Yes, Materna, Prabhu?
Thank you for answering all of our questions very patiently. Something that came to mind was on Magadari's question that he just posed, somebody who always appears morose. We have to keep in mind that externals isn't a factor that's going to turn out to always be true. For instance, the other day, I was out on books with Rishi, and we were talking to this man, and he said, and we were showing him a picture of Srila Prabhupada on Rishi's phone, and the guy said, "This person looks like the saddest human being I've ever seen. I wouldn't show that to people. You guys look, you follow this guy, you're going to be miserable." And then he showed us a photo of Mother Mary on his phone, and he said, "Doesn't she look happy?"
Mm-hmm.
So this always appearing to be morose, these externals, they're not like a say-all, be-all. It's the inner. You know if you're morose. You know if you're unhappy. It may not appear like that externally. Or it may appear like you're unhappy externally, but internally, that may not be the case at all. So this can't be like a tell-all, although it may be sometimes. Thank you.
Yeah, we have to be careful of the mode of ignorance. But actually, generally, the devotees that, like, in the association of devotees, it becomes obvious when somebody is actually morose. It becomes obvious in the association. Important to associate with your peers, seniors, juniors, because then the truth actually comes out. So we might even think we're not, but actually, others can see a little more clearly, or can at least mirror what's inside, whereas we may think that there's not. Because that's actually is a symptom of ignorance, is you don't actually see clearly. So, yeah, we shouldn't just assume somebody's morose because they look grave like Srila Prabhupada, but I mean, that's an advanced devotee, I couldn't say like, I got a straight face today, so, I'm experiencing high bliss, but everyone thinks I'm morose, That's not the case with neophytes, so But yeah, we can't assume like, okay, like sometimes devotees just have different moods. One at 1 hour they're like, jubilant and externally seeming to be very happy, and then the next hour they're like very focused and not really talkative, and then the next they're etc. Different moods are there. But it's important to associate with your peers because, especially your peers, because they can say like, hey, is everything going okay? Because generally they can see, they're like mirrors. Devotee association, you always have a mirror in front of you. And that's why some people can't be around people very much, because they're like, the mirror is too much, so you like have to leave, or you have to, exit the circumstance. So it's really purifying. It's it's difficult, and then you might reflect on it later, like, yeah, I was actually kind of standoffish, but I'm sorry. Yeah, just how I was feeling. So in our beginning stages, we're like that. We're just up and down. We're in these lower modes of nature, passion, ignorance. We're purifying it by hearing this knowledge, from hearing from the spiritual master. And then gradually, we rise above that. Pure goodness becomes more situated in our heart. But it takes time. It takes time. Just long journey. Purification. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful with others and then ourselves, and being in association with devotees and hearing from them, getting advice on things, sharing, revealing your mind. These are all important for seeing clearly. Like sometimes I might be thinking like, man, I'm in the mode of passion or whatever, and I'm thinking like, what are we doing? Why can't we do things? Then I might just be like in that mode, but then like I don't realize that everybody is doing service. And I'm like thinking like, okay, this guy was just, I don't know what he was doing all day. And then I go and like Prabhu is doing a lot of service all day, So we have to be careful about these modes of nature. But if you stay humble and stay sincere in practice and stay in the association of devotees, so it doesn't mean just like physical proximity, like, oh, I'm associating with devotees because there's a devotee way over there. I mean, that's some sort of association, but it's not actual, like, the nourishment you're not getting the nourishment of the association of devotees. You're not getting the benefit of purification from the association of devotees, of having, relationship with devotees, like actually having personal dealings, personal relationships. And we have to have that. So generally, if one doesn't find that, or not doesn't find it, but generally if we don't get it, we have to get it somewhere. So we're in brahmacharya, we're associating with our prabhus, our peers. That's one association where we're getting mirrored. We're mirroring what's inside. We're mirroring our anarthas. We're getting that experience. That's really important. Or we're in the ashram where the wife is mirroring our anarthas and mirroring everything. But if we just keep running away from that mirror, then the anarthas stick around. They stick around. They don't get purified as much. Progress is being made, but it's very slow. So that's why it's important. That's why these ashrams are important. And they have a certain dharma. so that you actually follow it and you get purified. That's the whole purpose of existence, is purification. Oh, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.